delighted you're here with us. I'm Paula Shaw, and you are backstage at Change It Up Radio. And today we've got an important show. Actually, there will not be a guest with me today. It's going to be all me because I'm talking about a topic that's really near and dear to my heart. The topic that I wrote this book about, grief. When will this pain ever end?
More productive, she'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a
Welcome to Change It Up Radio, here with Paula Shaw. I'm so happy to have you with me here at the start of the holiday season. I hope everybody had an amazing Thanksgiving. I know my family and I had a beautiful Thanksgiving, and I'm very grateful for that. Grateful that we were all together, that everybody was healthy and happy, and I hope it was true for your family too. Today, we're talking about a subject that's near and dear to my heart because one of the reasons I wrote this book, Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End, is because I've spent a lot of years working with grieving people. And I know that one of the hardest times of the year for grieving people is the holiday season. And we're going to not only be talking today about why is that kind of time of year so difficult for them, but what are the things that you can do to help them? Or maybe you'll want to share this show with them so that they can learn more about how to help themselves. So welcome to Change It Up Radio. You know that we are a show about change. Our purpose is to either spotlight change makers who are trying to make the world a better place, or to bring you information to help you deal more effectively and productively and smoothly with the changes and the upheavals of life. I would love to encourage you to go to our website, changeitupradio.com, and excuse me, and check out past shows. If you go to the Listen In tab, you'll see all the shows we've ever done archived, and we've had some amazing guests. We've done some amazing shows here at Change It Up Radio, and I would love you to be able to spend a little time going back and listening to some of those shows. We also have a tab about being a guest or being a sponsor of this show. So please go and explore changeitupradio.com. I also want to encourage you, if you'd like to learn more about the work I do as a life transitions therapist, helping people who are going through the upheaval of change, please go to paulashaw.com. You can learn more about my work with men, my work with women, and also about my speaking. And if you should be looking for a speaker that is working with people about change, helping people with change and disruption, whether it's in the workplace or in some other area of life, then you can go to paulashawspeaks.com. And you'll get all the information you need there, and also, of course, information about how to contact me. And I will be giving this information at the end of the show, but I also want to remind people, especially since we're talking about a topic near and dear to my heart, I want to remind people that that I do a complimentary 20-minute consultation. And so you can go to paulashaw.com to find out how to contact me for that complimentary consultation. Also, one other thing I want to say before we get talking about today's topic is that some of you who hear this show today may be going through grief yourself. You may be suffering some kind of loss, or you may have a friend who is going through, or a family member. So please be sure to share this show if you will. You know, it's so easy on Facebook to share something. So please share it with those people that you think it might be helpful for. Because trust me, there's a lot of people out there today who are going through tough times. And at this holiday season, that can be really difficult. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about what is the part about the holidays that can be so difficult if someone is going through grief, loss, sadness of any kind. And remember, change causes upheaval. Any kind of change, even if it's a change that you're looking forward to, like a marriage or a move, perhaps, or even a job change. But suddenly, everything is not the way it used to be. And we humans love the comfort of the familiar. So when we go through change that we were not planning on, it can be a very, very difficult time for us. And I want y'all to really get that part, because this stiff upper lip thing, or just keep going, time heals all wounds, all those myths, and yes, they are myths about how people should deal with grief, they don't work. They don't work. In fact, time can make things worse if you're not doing anything to help heal the pain, to heal the issues that you're in pain about. So let's all have our holiday hearts be open, and not only to helping ourselves and maybe healing ourselves, but also helping others who are less fortunate than we are, or who are just going through some of those upheavals that come along in life. The unexpected ones are most difficult, but even when we expect them, we never know exactly how it's going to feel in the moment that it happens. And change is tough. Change is change. And we humans like what's comfortable and what's familiar. So let's talk specifically about the holidays. Why are they particularly hard for grieving people? Well, one of the reasons is because they're all about joy, right? You've seen It's a Wonderful Life. We've seen all the lovely Christmas movies. We see the children happy and excited to see Santa. We put lights up on our houses. We decorate our trees. There are all these fun activities connected with the holidays. And then there's the joy of getting certain gifts that we really want. There's a lot that's all focused on joy. Well, what if you're sad? What if you're sad? So then you feel isolated, you feel defective, you feel alone, you just feel out of it. You don't know what to do and how to relate to the other people who all seem to be happy. So that's a tough one. That's really a tough one for people because, again, they feel isolated. And by the way, isolation is not a great place to heal. And that's why I encouraged you when we opened our show. If you know someone who's sad, if you know someone who's dealing with loss of any kind at this time of year, reach out. Reach out. Because if they're sad, they're feeling particularly out of sync with how it looks with everybody else. Now, we all know that one of the biggest problems we have is comparing our insides to other people's outsides, right? Because it all looks good on the outside. All those Facebook posts people put up about all the great things going on in their life, well, that's not real life. That's the part they choose to expose. And when you're out shopping or things are going on that look like there's so much fun, Christmas caroling or gathering, friends gathering, all of those kinds of things may look like fun and joy. And of course, they often are. But that doesn't mean that those people have a perfect life and that there isn't some place inside where maybe they're feeling a little sad or a little out of it or not the best they can be on that particular day. So, one of the other things that can make the holiday time very hard for grieving people is they're all about being with people you love. Well, if someone you love has left your life, if they've moved away, if they've passed away, if they're no longer speaking to you, it can be particularly hard to now be looking at a holiday season, especially if you have memories from the past of being with this person. So that's another reason the holidays can be particularly hard for people. Holiday activities require a great deal of energy. Even if you're feeling tip-top, we can all get pretty exhausted with the parties and the shopping and the wrapping and the cooking and all of the things that there are to do. So, and remember, people who are sad and grieving, they're at a much lower energy level. So they may already be feeling a state of exhaustion. And then to have to engage in holiday activities, which tax them even further, that can almost be more than they can deal with. And then, of course, the holidays are a trigger for memories of the past. And as I was saying, if your memories are of someone who's no longer in your life, it can be particularly hard to hear those songs that you used to hear with that person, or cook that dish that they particularly loved, or go to some holiday activity that's something that you well remember doing with them. So you see, there are so many triggers. There's so much nostalgia. And not to mention the movies and the Currier and Ives photos. And all of us have one other thing. Whether you're grieving or not, one of the things I think most people deal with during the holidays is what's really going on versus their dream or their fantasy of how it should be. Now, I don't know about you, but boy, the first time I ever saw a Currier and Ives photo, or Norman Rockwell, all those ideal, happy-looking people and the beautiful turkey and the gorgeous tree and the house lit up like a beautiful Christmas cottage. Those kind of visuals set my ideals of what Christmas should be when I was very young. And to tell you the truth, I've never had a Christmas in Massachusetts or somewhere that looks more like the whole Norman Rockwell, Currier and Ives kind of look. I've never had a Christmas where everything was perfect. I don't know about you. I've had some amazing Christmases, and I consider myself so blessed that I've had some beautiful holidays with my family. I have both parents who are my mom and dad are still living and still married to each other and still crazy about each other. So in that way alone, I feel incredibly blessed. And I look forward to another Christmas with all of my family there, happy and healthy. But for many people, that dream Christmas never really happens. For many people, their Christmas is so the opposite of what they dreamed of that it just becomes a very painful experience. And one other thing that can be tough for people, if their memories are of losing people they loved at this time of year, then again, all the holiday activities can be a trigger for that pain. So when we come back from this break, we're going to talk a little bit more about what are some of the things you can do if you are dealing with sadness during the holidays and how you can best help yourself to cope. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
If you could rebuild your health on a solid foundation, would you do it? Do you have health issues that doctors just can't get to the bottom of, and all they do is prescribe pills to lessen your symptoms? Would you like a better way? Certified FDN practitioner Desiree Lawn founded Autoimmune Health Freedom because she struggled with health issues from childhood that could not be explained. Today, she lives a vibrant life, free of aches and pains and full of energy to enjoy activities with her family. The life you would like to live. How did she do it? Autoimmune Health Freedom has the tools you need. For a free discovery session, call 858-248-1657 or go to autoimmunehealthfreedom.com. That's autoimmunehealthfreedom.com. Yes, you can feel better again. You can rebuild your health. You can have the life you want. Call 858-248-1657.
Desiree Lawn is not licensed by the state of California as a healing arts practitioner.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of One Trust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw, and after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking, and we're being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped me clear those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw. And you should too. It really changed my perspective on life, business, and now my business is going great. You can reach her at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. 626-864-0756. Or check her out at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio here with Paula Shaw. We're talking about grief and the holidays today. And by the way, I want to really make a point of letting you know that we are being brought to you today by LifeWave, who are the creators of phototherapy patches to improve your health and your life. Phototherapy patches that use no drugs and no chemicals. All right, so we're talking about grief and the holidays because it's a very tough time of year. If you're just joining us, you know, we've been discussing why grief is a really tough thing to process at this time of year. And I want to talk a little bit about, we've talked about why. I want to talk a little bit now about what can you do? What are some strategies that can maybe help you with growing through the holidays rather than just getting through the holidays? So let's look at some things you can do if, in fact, you're a person who's going through the sadness, the fear, the anxiety, perhaps the depression of grief at this time of year. So number one, be authentic. No stiff upper lip, no brave soldiers. You are where you are. And it won't always be this way, but right here, right now, this may be a Christmas that's particularly difficult for you or a holiday season. Obviously, we have many other things that are celebrated at this time of year, Hanukkah and Kwanzaa New Year's is coming, and we just finished with Thanksgiving. So if during this celebration season you are not in a very celebratory place, just be real. Be where you are and who you are, because you're already at a low energy state. And it takes a lot of energy to pretend. It takes a lot of energy to go ahead and go to all those activities because people expect you to. And maybe that's not in your highest good at all. So, my encouragement is be where you are. If that means you don't want to go to all the parties, if that means you just go and you say, hey, I'm going through some tough stuff right now, but I just wanted to support you, or I wanted to be here to say happy holidays to everybody. I won't be staying long. Whatever you need to do, give that to yourself. That's really important because self-care is critical, especially at this time of year because everybody's so busy. Maybe your friends who might normally be very thoughtful and caring for you, they may be very busy and not thinking so much about you. So you have to be thinking about you. You have to take care of you. And along those lines, my next bit of advice is cut back. Don't do everything you've always done. Holiday cards. I want to tell you that many years ago, I stopped sending out holiday cards. And while I don't get as many as I used to, because you know what happens. If you don't send the card, you're off the list for next year. But that's okay. I don't mind. That's fine. But I don't have to sit up now until 2 o'clock in the morning because I always felt I needed to write a little personal note on every card. And so I don't do that anymore. And I'm not even grieving, but I won't be sending them this year either. Sometimes I buy one or two for a couple of special people that I know will really appreciate a card, and that's it. And as all of you know, many people have replaced that whole thing with doing one Christmas letter that they send to everybody, or one post or on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or some other place in social media. So consider those options. Decorations. Oh my goodness, how many years did I drag myself, all alone even, to dragging out the trunks and putting up all the Christmas decos, because that's what you should do at this time of year. Not necessarily. If nobody's coming over to your house, or if it doesn't give you joy to put out the decorations, don't do it. Last year, no one was coming to my house for any particular celebrations, and I did very, very minimal decorating. And what I did was just what I enjoyed. Now, this year, my daughter and her dear friend Caitlin spent time with me last week, and we all did it together, and it was great fun. So my house is now the little Christmas cottage. So now I have to think of reasons to invite people over because I want to show it off. But it was enjoyable. So that's what I would say to you. Only do what gives you joy. Stop shoulding on yourself. No shoulds at this time of year, particularly if you're going through a hard time. Now, the shopping. Oh, yeah. There's always a lot of shopping to do, isn't there? And we all know that can be one of the most exhausting parts of the holidays. Between the driving, the parking, which is often an ordeal in itself, the lines, the dilemma of what to get, and then going home with all those packages and having to wrap for hours, that can be exhausting, even if you're in the best place ever. So here's some suggestions. Shop online and have it just sent directly to that person. I noticed, because I was doing a little online shopping myself in the last few days, you can click a little tab that says, do not have the invoice. This is a gift. Do not have the invoice in the package. And then it goes directly to that person. You're done. You don't have to wrap it. You don't have to drive. You don't have to park. You don't have to do any other shopping. Gift cards are one of my favorite ways of giving at Christmas time, because then everybody gets to choose what they want themselves. You get to have it in a special envelope or maybe in a special little box if you choose to do that. And what's also very cool these days is they make gift card boxes. Boom, in it goes, lid goes on, you're done. Has a bow on it even. So check those out. I've even found those at the 99-cent store. So, not only do you get it all done, it looks beautiful and it doesn't cost you very much at all. Another thing that I think people need to think about at this time of year is the food. Cooking can be hours and hours of labor in the kitchen. So decide, do you really want to cook? Or do you want to go to Gelson's or Vaughn's or somewhere and order the whole dinner to be delivered? Remember, everybody isn't expecting you to do what you've always done. Everybody in your life probably knows you're going through a tough time, especially if you've been being authentic, as I originally suggested. So don't necessarily do all the holiday food. If baking cookies feels like an ordeal to you, this is the year you don't bake cookies. Or you go to a great bakery and buy some that they made. Just take it easy on yourself. If you have children and they love to decorate cookies, go buy some plain sugar cookies and get some icing and sprinkles and all of that and let them decorate, but then you don't have to worry about the baking. Take some shortcuts because self-care is critical at this time of year, especially if you're dealing with emotions that are hard and emotions that are draining. New Year's activities, maybe this year you do something simple. Maybe you stay home. Maybe you light a fire and snuggle under your blanket and watch the ball drop in New York. That happens at 9 o'clock California time. You can even get a good night's sleep. I've done this many times. And my parents, who are now in their 90s, do it as a regular thing, which I find delightful. Another thing that you might want to do is think about establishing new traditions, kind of loss of someone that you love. Doing the things you always used to do with them can be particularly difficult. Going to the same places, having Christmas brunch in the same restaurant, that kind of thing is only going to be reminiscent of what or who is no longer in your life. So think about changing those traditions. Think about doing something different. One of the things that we've done in our family that I found particularly helpful after a loss, after a death, when we gathered, we had a candle, a memory candle lit, sitting at one of the places where our brother-in-law would have been. And what we did before the dinner was we passed the candle, and each person could either just take a moment to honor him or to say something lovely about him. And that was helpful for all of us because we were all thinking about it, and that way we had a little healing moment before the dinner began. So think about doing things differently, all right? And think about doing less. And when we come back, we'll continue this discussion about how to get through the holidays successfully when you're dealing with grief. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Hi, Paula Shaw here. I'm so delighted to share with you that LifeWave has become our newest sponsor on Change It Up Radio. My family and I all use their tiny wearable patch technology, and the results are life-changing. My sister had lupus for over 20 years and has never slept well. Now she does. My mom's frozen shoulders simply went away. My favorite is the age-reversing X39, a patch engineered to activate stem cells. Yeah, it's true. They really work to improve how you look, feel, perform, and heal. LifeWave patches use a patented form of phototherapy using frequencies of light to safely boost health and wellness at the cellular level with no drugs. Learn more online by visiting lifewave.com. That's lifewave.com.
My business has lost its upward momentum. I'm working up to 14 hours a day, but my sales seem to have plateaued. I'm so overwhelmed.
I used to have that same problem, but ever since I found the Balanced Millionaire consulting firm, our sales and profits have risen sharply. Even our staff is more engaged, and the atmosphere is full of energy.
I have no time to work on my business to develop new sales and marketing strategies. I would love to expand, have strategic partnerships, and access to financing.
You can do all of that and more. The Balanced Millionaire Consulting Team advises you on streamlining your operations, establishing alliances, and most importantly, increasing your revenues and profits.
Let us help you build value and reduce stress in your business. Take charge. Don't let your business control your life. Visit thebalancedmillionaire.com or call 442-224-0160 for a free consultation. That's 442-224-0160 or thebalancedmillionaire.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We're talking about grief and the holidays today, and I hope you will stay with us because we have talked about why the holidays are a hard time when people are grieving. We've talked about some strategies for helping yourself if you are someone who's stressed or grieving during the holidays. And we're going to continue on that same vein in this segment. But first, I want to say that we are being brought to you by our sponsor, LifeWave, the makers of phototherapy patches that use no drugs or chemicals to improve your health and improve your life. All right, one thing I didn't get to say in the last segment when we were talking about some strategies to help you if you are dealing with sadness or pain at this time of the year. I want to say it's very important to take good care of your physical self. So that means, even though we all know that this is the time of year when all the goodies are being made and they're everywhere you go, you need to try to balance your nutrition and keep your body strong. So yes, indulge here and there, but eat good, nutritious food. Also really important that you get plenty of rest. You know, just like I was saying, many years ago, I decided I can't stay up till 2 a.m. wrapping or sending out cards or any of that stuff. My sleep was critical, not only to my being able to function well in my everyday life, but this is a time of year when lots of people get sick. And we know the reason a lot of them get sick is because they're eating a lot of sugar and they're not getting enough rest. So be sure that you get plenty of rest. The other thing I highly recommend is exercise of some sort every day, even if that's just taking a walk and thinking over what you need to accomplish that day. That can be very beneficial. And as we go down the road of life, I'm a big believer at this point in my life, move it or lose it. So I do some kind of exercise every day, no matter what. And I think it's really important for just keeping the body moving and keeping everything flowing. And one other thing I would suggest, because there's a lot of partying happening at this time of year, try to have moderate intake of alcohol, because that can also be a wipeout and can inhibit how you feel. And for people who are dealing with sadness, sometimes too much alcohol releases those inhibitions, and it will actually just take you to a sad place and make everything seem so much worse. Excuse me. So those are my suggestions for taking care of the physical body. Now, what do we do about the grief itself? We're in pain. Whether you have lost someone you love to death, whether you're going through a relationship breakup, a divorce, a move, perhaps someone you really care about that was important in your life, whether a friend or a family member has moved away and they're not there anymore. And all the things you loved to do every year for so many years are not happening now. You have to also deal with the grief. Now, a little bit of shameless promotion here, but I'm saying it because I so know it and believe it. This book that I wrote, Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End, is filled with helpful processes to help you express the pain that you're going through and move through it. And this book is available on Amazon. It's short chapters, lots of processes, and short articles that you can read. So you can almost thumb through it and look for what calls you to help you process when you're going through a difficult time. Excuse me, when you're going through a difficult time. Another thing that's really important when you're going through these times is to talk to somebody. You've got to discuss, you've got to express what you're feeling. So whether that's a professional counselor or whether that's a best friend or a family member, spend some time talking about what you're dealing with, because that can really help so much. Writing about your feelings can be incredibly helpful. Journaling or just writing individual pieces. You know, my daughter sometimes just writes an essay about something that she's dealing with or something she's feeling. Writing's a great way of expressing ourselves and really getting down into the core of it. Because even though I do believe isolation is not the best thing for us when we're healing from grief, we do need to spend some alone time. We do need to go in there and feel what we're really feeling and experience what's happening within. So writing can be a helpful way to get in there and feel those feelings and express them. Use ritual if it's helpful for you. You know, I remember when I was going through the loss of my dog, which was a really tough loss for me. Every morning for quite a long time, I would get up, I would light a candle, and I would spend some time playing this song that he loved and thinking about Sammy. Every morning. So it was something that I looked forward to. It was a time when I could honor the feelings and the love I had for him. And it was a time when I could just go within, feel my real feelings. A lot of those days I cried, for sure. But ultimately, it became a healing activity. Ultimately, my memories of him weren't so much ones that brought me sadness, but ones that brought me joy, ones that helped me appreciate what an amazing being he was in my life. So use ritual to help yourself if that feels good to you. Along those same lines, sometimes it can be really helpful to have a conversation with that person. You can close your eyes, visualize them, or that being, perhaps it was an animal in your case as well. Close your eyes and just chat with them. Let them know what's going on. Tell them what you're feeling. Tell them how you miss them. Tell them why you miss them, if in fact you do. So sometimes that can be incredibly helpful, and don't worry about it. You're not going crazy. You're actually talking with that being. Because remember, you know, quantum physics has taught us energy cannot be created or destroyed. So the energy that animated that being that you loved never goes away. It still exists. So whether you believe it's existing in heaven, or you know it's existing now in Milwaukee, or wherever that being is, their energy is still very real. And though you may be separated by time and space, you can still connect on that energetic level. And while expressing those feelings, should tears come up, should sadness come up, let that happen, because that's what's real. Remember, emotions, energy in motion, is not meant to be stuffed down. It comes up because it's there, it's real inside of us. We're feeling something, and we need to bring it up, express it, and release it, because that helps us create energetic space for the next emotion that comes in. Because one of the things that happens to people, if you keep pushing your emotions down, if you don't allow yourself to really feel those emotions and express them and release them, you become kind of numb after a while, because there's no energetic space within you for the new emotions to come up. And I know I've heard clients, and I've even experienced some of this myself, where they talk about reaching a point where you almost feel like you're looking through a window at everyone else who's alive, who's living their lives, but you don't feel alive. alive. You feel numb. You feel perhaps even dead inside. That happens when we don't express and release feelings. So it's critical to do that. You want to express them. If you can express them to another human being, even better, because when we can be heard, that helps us process in another way that can be very healing. But moving through our emotions is a critical part of healing from grief. And too often people think, well, I'll just push it away. I'll think about that later. Or I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. And then what happens is you're just stuffing it down, and it takes up energetic space. And a lot of times, stuffed emotions become physical illness. There's nothing really productive or good for us about not expressing and feeling what we feel. So allow yourself to feel it, to express it, and then to be able to move on and go forward. All right, when we come back, we'll be summarizing all of this and talking a little bit more about that which you can do to help yourself if you're grieving during the holidays. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com. Or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. And we are proudly being brought to you by LifeWave, creators of phototherapy patches to improve your health and your life without drugs or chemicals. Okay, we're talking about grief and the holidays today because, as I said in early on, in fact, I'm calling this show Grief and the Holidays, Unlikely Travel Companions. We all want to be happy during the holidays, don't we? We want to get into the joy of family and fun and festivities and special food and decorations and presents. There are so many parts of the holidays that can be so lovely and so delightful. But when you're not in the mood, so to speak, when you're not able to really enjoy the holidays because you're feeling sad, you've suffered some kind of loss in your life, and the normal natural response to loss is grief. So if you are dealing with that kind of a situation this holiday season, then you need to take special care of yourself. You need to take some special actions that will help you heal rather than drain you further or make healing more difficult. So we've been talking about those during this show, and I'd like to summarize a little bit of what we have been talking about. So some of the things that will help you to heal and grow during this holiday season rather than just trying to survive things are the following. First of all, be authentic. Whatever's real for you is what's real for you. You can't change that reality. And so accept it and own it and be authentic about it. Let people know, hey, I'm not really into it this year. Such and such happened, or my best friend moved away and nothing's the same. Let people know what's real for you. Now, does that mean you have to be a buzzkill everywhere you go? Of course not. You can still enjoy the holiday activities, just enough that of what you've got the energy for, not overdoing it, because we said it's important to gauge what you do to the energy level you have and cut back from things that would take you to a place of being too drained or too exhausted. Because remember, when you're grieving, you're already at a lowered energy level. So the last thing you need is to drain yourself even more doing too many things. So if that means you don't shop, instead you get gift cards online, or you order online and have the presents sent. If that means that you're not cooking everybody's favorite holiday foods this year, if that means that you're not going to every party you're invited to, whatever it means, cut back. Honor your energy level and your truth. Honor what you actually have the stamina for and what you can do and enjoy it. Remember, there are no shoulds. Nobody is keeping score of what you do this holiday season, particularly if you're going through a tough time. So cut back to just what feels good to do. If baking cookies feels like it would just make your day because you have so many happy memories of baking cookies, bake those cookies. But if it's like, oh my God, the shopping for it, the mixing, the putting, the rolling, the cutting, the baking, if all of that feels like an ordeal, you have my permission to say, not this year. We'll do it next year when it feels like fun. So we want to cut back. We also want to give ourselves permission to establish new traditions. Remember, when you're dealing with loss, nothing in your life is the same. So why do things exactly the same way you used to at this time of year? Maybe you go somewhere different. instead of the usual things you did during the holidays. Maybe you go out of town. Maybe you eat at a different restaurant or at a different time of day. Maybe you just offer to bring a dish to somebody else's gathering so you don't have to do all the work. Be open to establishing new traditions. Maybe this year we don't do presents. Let's contribute all that money to a great cause, to people who are really in need. There's so many options. There's so many different ways to do things. And sometimes that change can be very energizing, or that change can lead to a wonderful, fun experience, something that's rich and new and that will fulfill you rather than exhaust you. So be open to new traditions. Now, I also want you to remember that it's important to process what you're going through. So do some kind of processing if you can every day, even if that's something as simple as lighting a candle and going within for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, meditating or praying or reading some little book of wisdom for 15 or 20 minutes each day. Or perhaps there's a book that you particularly like that's about grief or about loss or about sadness. Perhaps you want to get my book, which, as I was mentioning before, is filled with processes. And maybe each day you flip the pages and open to a new process, or go down the list of processes in the back of the book and pick one that sounds appealing to you. There are so many things you can do that can be helpful. Journaling, as I was saying, is often a wonderful daily ritual that can help you process your feelings and that can also help you heal. Or just writing. It can be fiction. It can be about your feelings. It can be anything that feels good to you. Sometimes music is incredibly healing. So find music that feels good to you, that soothes your soul. Or maybe music that makes you feel like dancing, and dance. You know, we don't have to be still and quiet all the time when we're going through grief. Sometimes it's really great to shake it up and move and dance. So if that feels right to you, I guess what I'm basically saying is permission's granted to do whatever you feel would be helpful and healing for you. One of the things I've really enjoyed is just having a little gathering of my girlfriends. Not a party, but a little gathering. Everybody brings something to munch on. Maybe we open a bottle of wine, and we just sit and have girl talk in comfy clothes with the fire going, something where everybody's just at ease. That can be so healing. If you're a grandparent, you might find it just wonderful to go see a Christmas movie with your grandchildren, or have them over to your house, light the fire, snuggle under a nice warm blankie, and watch the movie with them. So you see, what I'm saying is there's no absolutes and there's no right and wrongs. Just do whatever feels best for you. Give yourself permission to actually create this holiday season just the way you want it, doing just the things you feel like doing. But let those things be healing. Let them help you process through your pain. Remember, running from our pain or pushing it away or pretending it doesn't exist does not change it and does not heal it. It will be waiting for you when you come back from whatever you were doing to sidetrack yourself when you pushed it away. So the best counsel I can give you is to say, deal with it head on. Feel it. If you're out shopping and you hear a certain song and it brings up memories of someone who's lost from your life right now and tears start to flow, let them flow. Let yourself feel what you're feeling, because only when you do that, as I was saying, when you process, when you feel, when you move the feelings through and release them, now you have room for energy, the energy of life, the energy of joy, the energy you'll need to go forward. So also, please remember, if any of you should be interested in a complimentary consultation with me to help you in dealing with these feelings during the holidays, you can reach me at paulashaw.com or at changeitupradio.com. So I just want to say happy holidays. I want to say that whether you're as joyful as you can be or you're dealing with some sadness, make your holidays beautiful. That's the most important thing, that they're what you want and that they feed you and nurture you. So I thank you for being with us today. I thank you for listening to Change It Up Radio. Remember, you can hear us on AM 1170, The Answer, or 96.1 FM, The Answer, on Sunday evenings at 9 o'clock. We're also on every major podcast platform, including iHeartRadio and Blog Talk Radio. So please remember my plea at the beginning of this show. If you're sad, or if you know someone who's sad or dealing with grief during these holidays, please share this show. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Change It Up with life transitions expert, speaker, and best-selling author, Paula Shaw. Join the Change It Up movement with Paula Shaw as we explore topics that inspire, welcome change, and create a new kind of conversation. To learn more about Paula, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities, visit changeitupradio.com. Whether you're feeling happy, sad, mad, or glad, it never hurts to change it up.
Facebook live stream viewers, thank you so much for being with us during that show. And again, share it. Share it with anybody you know who might be helped by what I shared with you today. And I'm hoping that all of you are happy and healthy and well and looking forward to your holidays. And I look forward to spending them here with you. So join us next week when we come back for Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. See you then. Bye-bye. I know I was a little long on that one. Can we save it?